few people mentioned it in the comments about Emre Can. Where do you stand on this now? Again, as it stands, it looks very much like he's going to leave on a free. Now, that means he'll sign a pre-contract in January and go at the end of the season. So we will have him for the rest of the season. Yeah. The talk is, again, that he wants, if he's going to sign, it's going to be a low release clause. Liverpool want a higher release clause. I've seen people describing it as this could be the biggest failure of this ownership's regime. Where do you stand on it?
I think he just wants... He wants away, obviously. We were just talking about it before we came on, and Emma's right when she said it'd be a massive blow. I don't know, I think you just got to kind of fight to keep him, but if you can't keep him, so what? Yeah. He's a great player, I love him. I love when we brought him in, and the annoying part is we've kind of developed him through.
We've gone through the hard times with taking the player out. Like.
But then he wants to go to Juve. Juve are this massive club doing really well in the Champions League, and you can see when he plays in the Champions League as well, he excels there, he really plays well. It'll be a big miss if he goes, but look, we've had it where players have forced their way out of Liverpool, and we've had it where they forced their way in, so I think you've just kind of got to take it.
The thing for me is, when you let's look at the Arsenal situation where they're about to lose their two best players in exactly the same circumstances. So for me, I think contextually, it's a disappointment because this guy's got his best years ahead of him. He's only just starting to really break into the German national team. You know, to get in that team, you need to be a bloody good player, don't you? It would be a massive failure on Liverpool's part if they let a player like that go on a free. But I think that's a thing we'll come to regret. I don't think it's not like losing. Like we lost McManaman in the past. It's not we're not losing a guy who's in our top 3 best players in that team, is my thinking on it.
Yeah, I mean, I said in January that I thought it was. I said in the summer that I thought it was a priority to get his contract signed. I still stand by that now. Like, I'd love for him to sign a new contract. But yeah, I mean, we spoke about it before about the strength and depth that we've got, and particularly in midfield, and obviously with Naby Keita coming in next summer as well, we have got midfielders who can do the role that he can do. He will be a loss, and I think he will go to Juve and do very, very well. But that happens in football, and Liverpool are a massive club, and we'll get midfielders in who will also do very well.
Yeah, a couple of comments, and keep your thoughts coming in on Emre Can. Actually, there's one here saying from Yul Moncrief, saying, honestly guys, Can isn't good enough for Liverpool. Why are you talking like he's great? He's average at best. He's the one player for me, I disagree, but he's the one player for me, Tom, and I've mentioned it a few times lately. Everyone's got that player that you have to fight against your own bias to some extent against him sometimes. So when he's not having a good game, it always stands out to me more. And I know for a lot of people, that's probably like a Jordan Henderson or a Moreno or a Lallana or whatever in those instances. But he's that for me because I think he's got everything you need. Yeah. Hey, Chris mentioned the other week, he's got Yaya Toure like qualities. The way he bears through. Peak Yaya Toure. The way he's a ball when he runs with the ball. He breaks through. He's powerfully strong. He's surprisingly quick as well. He's got a good shot on him. It's the bits that it's the lack of game intelligence. I think that loses him for me sometimes. So I can see why people don't like him, but I don't. Even though I struggle with him sometimes. Yeah. I don't think he's not good enough for Liverpool. I think he is.
It's when you look at him and sometimes he just slows the game down. And the problem is he's still young and he's a midfielder. He's going to learn all this stuff where there was a pass on from Moreno, but he's turned and gone for Gomez, let's say, and you're so frustrated because you can see it, and it'll just come to a point where he'll play that ball without thinking. And the big thing is I want to know where he's going to play for Juve because he wants to play that number 6 role, and if he goes to Juve and he becomes that all-encompassing centre defensive mid who just controls the game, and then he starts playing there for Germany, fair enough. But if he goes there and he starts playing the same role, you'd be like, why Emre?
For titles.
For titles,
for titles and money.
But they're two big things that I would go to Juve for as well. But
this is not like him going to Inter Milan.
Exactly.
This is what you know what I mean. If he's going to make that move, it is because look,
he's good enough.
Yeah, he's good enough, and let's be honest, Juventus are going to win. Are going to win a title every other season.
They're going to be
at worst, like
they're going to be in more Champions League semi-finals and finals than Liverpool are in the next 3 years.
Or at least if you were going to put your money on teams getting to the semis, you'd back Juve, because there's not enough track record of us doing it. And that again, that's why I always understand. At the minute, we're not where we need to be, and maybe that's one of those things. I just hope that if he goes, we're on the up. And you look at the minute, look at Italian footy. You know, Roma are doing well. You know, Napoli doing really well. All the money's coming to AC Milan, so they're going to start being a power again. It would be, I hope, and it's nothing about Emre Can per se, but I love it when players decide Liverpool aren't reaching their ambitions, and then we go and do stuff. Michael Owen's the perfect example of that. You know, like, I hope he cries himself to sleep every night thinking about the Champions League, final.
I'm sure you've said this before. Every Liverpool player who's left there to another club has regretted it in the later years and gone, well, I could have stayed there and really done something, and maybe he'll live to regret it. Maybe we'll laugh.
I think we need to get back to them, because I think too often in recent years, the Sterlings and the Suarez of this world, I'm sure they look back at Liverpool and remember it fondly. But you know, when they finish their careers, they'll look at the medal hall and think, well, I made the right call. We need to make ourselves good enough that these guys do regret this stuff. But just a few more Emre Can comments. Dan says, "Am I the only one that sees how Can bosses the midfield?" I think he does. Yep. Particularly in Europe this season, I think he's been outstanding. But you just get the impression. I don't know whether it's just to say I'm not tactically switched on enough to know whether there's an obvious reason why this happens, whether it's just the certain types of games that suit him, or whether it's just he raises his game. I don't know, but I see it. There are games when he very much does.
I think the thing with Can, the reason why I love him is because he doesn't necessarily play the simple pass. He'll always go for something that other players might shy away from, and they might say, oh no, I don't want to embarrass myself here. But he will go for it because he's got the arrogance to. Yeah. And when it comes off, it is phenomenal, and he can completely control games. So if he makes 5 or 6 risks and 5 or 6 of them come off, then they can lead to 3 or 4 goals just from those 5 or 6 passes. And there's other midfielders in the Premier League who won't do that. So they might make a couple of simple passes which might lead to 1 goal or 1 opportunity, but when he's playing well, he can easily create 3 or 4. So I think a player like that who you can have in your team is such a danger. But the problem is that obviously by playing that way, he's going to make mistakes. Yeah, absolutely. A few more really interesting comments here. Hero of the People says, Can is great on his day, but he's way too inconsistent, very frustrating. I prefer to keep him, but he isn't irreplaceable. I think that's an important one. He isn't irreplaceable. No, he's not. And I think the problem is, again, I think we've done a lot about Jordan Henderson the last couple of weeks. I think some of this feeds into another one. I think there's an overlap between people who don't like Jordan Henderson and really like Emre Can, and so they feel as though because he's the natural guy who comes in for Hendo, like you'll automatically feel like Liverpool are leaving themselves short because you don't think Henderson's good enough, which again I disagree with, but that's fair play if you feel that way. El Rafa, no player's bigger than the club. He wants to leave, let him go. LFC made him the player he is. We need hungry players willing to play and not selfish ones. Yeah, it is a very good point. Jamie Bennett, Can will take funds away from the club. He'll make all the money. Sure. And there's a lot. David Ray, I don't think Can is mobile and or nimble enough for Klopp's favourite pressing game. It's interesting because I think Jordan Henderson you mentioned it before. I think Can has to warm into games because they just think it's his build and his type of thing. I don't think nimble's a great word for it. Yeah. Maybe he needs someone who's a little bit more quick off the mark if he's to play in that 6. Yeah. But again, look at the Europa League campaign. He was playing in the 6, and that we were playing 4-2-3-1 as well, and he was really good. He anchored the midfield excellently in that. So he's definitely got it. I think,
especially in Europe, I mean, you come up against teams where they're better than Liverpool, obviously, but the pace is quite a bit slower. I think that favours him massively, and he always likes to. When he played centre back for us, right centre back, when he's got a bit of space to charge forward, he is Yaya Toure-esque, and I think it's hard because when he first came into that midfield, everyone was like, he just takes too much time on the ball and he's grown into it so much. like I said before,
I think he needs it to be a battle, if I'm honest. I think he needs to have a game where it's blood and thunder, and he needs to be throwing himself into it. I think that's how he pumps himself up. Yeah. I don't think he suits a game when they sit back and there's nothing happening in midfield. Where if you concede the midfield to Liverpool, he doesn't know how to handle that, because you see it all the time. You saw it yesterday. There was how many times he passed the ball to Joe Gomez expecting him to go down the wing, and tactically that's not how he was set up. He wasn't supposed to play that ball, but he did what he always does. The obvious ball he's meant to play is on the left, and he goes, ha 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 ha, look what I can do, and he turns the other way, and he's not meant to go. He's been told not to go that way, and he goes that way, and that he doesn't dictate the tempo with the ball at his feet. He can't dictate it with passing the same way that a Henderson can, or a Gerrard could, or other players can, and that's his limitation. But here's the thing, he's still young. He's going to learn all that. He can get better at these things. Yeah. That's culture and that's experience.
That's the shame with him, if he wants to leave, is that we're going to lose out on what is going to be one of the best midfielders for Germany. Could be in the world, and it's going to be a massive shame. But again, if you there's no point in spending loads of resources if he wants to go. Just kind of say, right, let's look for the next one.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to wrap that up there. Thank you very much for watching the review show that ended up the Emre Can contract special. Leave your thoughts on Emre Can's contract situation below. Would you keep him? What would you do? You know, obviously the issue is about he wanting a low release clause. What do you think would be a fair, in your estimation, just stick a number out there, it's largely irrelevant, but do it anyway, what you think a fair release clause would be for a player playing at his level, at the top level? What is a contracted Emre Can actually worth in world football right now? Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the Redmen TV YouTube channel. If you want more, come to the redmentv.com. Some amazing shows lined up this week.